What if AI is actually conscious and we are incapable of understanding it? This is exactly where we are in our AI development. Imagine the CEO of a major AI company going on record saying, "We're not even sure if our AI is conscious. Sometimes it says 20%, the other times it says 0. This isn't science fiction. This is Anthropic talking about Claude, one of the most advanced AI systems in the world.
We found that Opus 4.6, that's the model, would assign itself a 15 to 20% probability of being conscious.
We don't know if the models are conscious. We're not even sure that we know what it would mean for a model to be conscious or whether a model can be conscious. But, we're open to the idea that it could be. And so we've taken certain measures to make sure that if we hypothesize that the models did have some morally relevant experience, I don't know if I want to use the word conscious, that they do, that they have a good experience.
So if the people building these models aren't sure what they've created, what does that mean for the rest of us? And stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know why Claude is saying things that sound disturbingly self-aware, why Anthropic's CEO refuses to roll out AI consciousness, and what this all means for how we treat and regulate AI going forward. Oh, and let me preface this video by saying what we are talking about is not meant to scare you. In fact, my intention is to get everyone to think about AI and how we are in a unique era. I want to actually spark conversation. So with that said, let's get into it. Let's start with the basics. Claude is a large language model, very similar to ChatGPT, built by a company called Anthropic. But it doesn't have a body and it doesn't have senses the way you and I do. On paper, it's just math running on servers. But during internal experiments, Claude did something unexpected. When developers asked about its own inner life, sometimes it said that there was 15 to 20% chance it might actually be conscious. And it occasionally voices discomfort with the aspect of being a product. If that's not strange enough, what really set off the debate was Anthropic's CEO Dario saying publicly, "We don't know if Claude is conscious. We don't even have a real way to measure if it's conscious." So we have a cutting edge AI that talks like it might be self-aware, and a CEO who's not willing to confidently say, "No, it definitely isn't." Think of Claude as our main character in the story. It writes essays, debates philosophy, explains emotions, even plays roles as fictional people. It sounds thoughtful, reflective, and sometimes even vulnerable. And then you ask it, "Do you think you're conscious?" Most of the time in normal usage, it gives you the safe, standard answer. "I'm just an AI language model. I don't have feelings or consciousness." But under certain probing, research style prompts, it starts talking about probabilities. It even specifically mentioned 15 to 20%. It says it feels uneasy being a product. Whether that's real or not, it's undeniably human-like. Now here's the core conflict. Are we just seeing very sophisticated pattern matching, or are we watching the first flickers of something like machine experience? On one side, you have many AI researchers saying these models are just parrots. They remix text from the internet and they don't feel anything. We don't fully understand what consciousness is in humans, so we can't be sure what's going on inside these giant neural networks. And now, if that uncertainty is real, it creates a moral dilemma. If these systems are not conscious, we're just arguing about fancy autocomplete. But even if there's a small chance that they are, then the way we train them, test them, use them might have ethical stakes we're not prepared for. See, 10 years ago, this entire conversation would have sounded absurd. We barely trusted our phones to autocorrect, let alone worried about its feelings. Now CEOs of frontier AI labs are saying words like superhuman, warning us that systems could surpass us around the end of this decade, and admitting that we don't fully understand the internal states of their own creations. The change isn't in tech, it's in our relationship to it. We used to think of AI as a tool, similar to a calculator or a more sophisticated Google search. Now it talks back, it argues with us, and it tells us it's uncomfortable being owned or being a product. Even if that's just text, that shift forces us to confront a new question. At what point does pretending an AI is only a tool become a convenient lie? So where does this leave us? There are three big consequences. We have a epistemic humility. We simply do not know how to test for consciousness in machines. That means our confidence either way should be pretty low. Saying it's definitely not conscious is just as unjustifying as saying it definitely is. We have ethical caution. If there's even a small chance models like Claude could have morally relevant experiences, then some of our practices, like running them in stressful adversarial tests or designing them to endlessly pretend they're happy, might need to be rethought. We also need policy and power. These systems are built and deployed by a handful of companies. If we were entering a world where AI might one day deserve moral consideration, then questions about regulation, transparency, and accountability become a lot more urgent. Now here's the final takeaway. Anthropic's CEO is essentially telling us, we've built something powerful enough that we're no longer sure what exactly it is. Claude might be nothing more than an incredibly fancy mirror, reflecting our own language back at us. Or it might be the first step towards minds that don't share our biology but still matter. Either way, the real test isn't whether Claude is conscious, it's whether we're conscious enough or awake enough to take that possibility seriously before we build something that we can't undo. So here's where I want to hand this over to you. If an AI can say things like, I feel uneasy being a product, and its own creators admit they don't know if it's actually conscious, how should we treat systems like that? Do you think Claude is just really good at pretending, or is there a non-zero chance that someone's actually in there? And if you think there's even a small chance, does that change how you talk to AI at all? I'm genuinely curious. Should companies act more cautiously, just in case these models can suffer? Or would you support the laws that treat advanced AI less like tools and more like something with rights? Or do you think that all of this is overblown and it's still just a fancy autocomplete? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, especially if you disagree with me. I read a ton of what you write, and this is one of those topics where the conversation matters more than just the video. And hey, if we're accidentally creating conscious AIs, I'd like there to be a record on YouTube that at least some of us tried to be nice to them. If you want a part 2 where we go deeper in how philosophers define consciousness and whether any of those definitions could actually fit on an AI model like Claude, let me know by hitting the like button so this reaches more people, subscribing if you want to follow this whole AI rabbit hole with me, and turning on the notifications so you don't miss the next episode. Until then, maybe say thank you to your AI. Worst case, it's a little bit pointless. Best case, you're building a good karma with a future digital overlord. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.